Ben here, and welcome to the 2020 Senate predictions and gubernatorial predictions, as well as a quick review on and maybe a little bit better explanation of how the model works, and one of the things I've done to tweak it to make it a little bit better. Okay, so anyway. For right now, we're going to be using this as a workaround for the fact that 270 to win does not have a 2020 feature, nor have they updated for 2019 in terms of gubernatorial interactive maps. But they'll get to it as soon as they can. I trust them. So this is what the Senate map looks like. Any state in gold, by the way, is a state that isn't holding a Senate election as of right now, which is about 3:30 on November 14th. So let's just put it this way. Any state that Trump is going to be expected to win handedly, I would imagine the Republican incumbent or the Republicans will win that race in the Senate by similar margins. Okay, so there we go, and Alaska. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 races out of 34. Races that I expect the Republicans to win will include Texas. There is a chance it's competitive, and it wasn't Cuellar that is the senator. It's Cornyn, who is about as popular as Ted Cruz, but much less unpopular, so to speak, for a lot of reasons. And yeah, most of the people I've spoken with in Texas, my family I have who are Texas residents, etc., they mostly like Cornyn, but then again, grain of salt, everybody, I kind of have a lot of my family is pretty conservative, so grain of salt there. But a lot of my friends who weren't so conservative don't hate Cornyn the way they hate, not O'Rourke, the way they really dislike Ted Cruz, and that's understandable. Let's be honest, Illinois is not going to the Republicans, nor is Oregon, probably not New Mexico. I don't expect Massachusetts or Rhode Island or New Jersey, probably not Delaware, to elect Democrats as well. That's already 7 wins for them out of 34. So now we go to the swing states, where, as boring as this sounds, but if I expect Trump to win the state, I expect the Republican to win the Senate race. So that includes Arizona, which will be an open seat. Kyle is currently the caretaker senator for the seat. He has stated that he is not going to run for re-election. He actually held it before John McCain. This exact seat too, which is I think a little interesting, but it actually makes sense as to why he got the job again. Iowa, which if I remember correctly is, I don't remember if it's Grassley or Joni Ernst. No, it's Grassley. Okay, so it's Grassley in Iowa. Georgia is Isaacson, and North Carolina is Thom Tillis, or Tillis. And I expect them all to win their races, so that's Yeah, 4 more for the Republicans. And now we get into the races that are going to be super, super, super competitive. Virginia, I'm leaning this towards Mark Warner. And even if Trump somehow manages to win Virginia, I would expect Mark Warner to win unless it's by a large margin that Trump wins the state by, which I don't think is happening. Minnesota will be held by Tina Smith, who won the special election here. And it's kind of similar to Virginia. Unless Trump is winning it by like 5 or 6%, I really don't think the Republican nominee in Minnesota is going to win that Senate seat. So I'm still only going to lean this towards Tina Smith, but she is definitely the odds-on favorite. New Hampshire will go to whoever the party that wins it at the presidential level. If Trump wins it, the Republican gets elected. If Trump loses the state, then the Democrat will win. Maine is interesting because it's going to be using, well, it's a federal election, so it won't be using for ranked choice. It will be using first past the post. Or, no, wait, I don't remember. I really don't remember which one it's going to use. I think it's supposed to use ranked choice, but right now they're only using, I honestly don't remember. I think they are using ranked choice, in which case I just don't think Suzanne Collins wins it, though she could parlay herself as a moderate Republican, and with her getting a ton of votes in this rural 2nd congressional district, and she'll probably get enough votes in the 1st congressional district to, she'll outperform Trump here. That's pretty plain and simple. I'm not sure if she'll outperform him enough to actually win the Senate seat outright. And I would consider this a true toss-up, so for now I will lean it in her favor, and then Michigan is weird. I think there's a chance that that if they get a good Republican candidate, I don't know, maybe John James again, though he would have that stigma as somebody who lost a race here. He vastly outperformed expectations, and I think he could do it again. This is one of those states where the Republican could win despite Trump losing, but for now I'm going to lean in favor of the incumbent. I forget his name at the moment, just a lot of races from both this year and 2020 to remember who's up for election. And plus I'm still a little bit behind my sleep schedule from election night. And then Colorado is going to lean to whoever the Democratic nominee is. Gardner isn't exactly the most popular candidate. So what this winds up being is, actually I think this is the exact same breakdown as it currently is. And there would be no change according to this map. Though any state that I've only leaned could easily go the other direction. By the way, Mississippi, technically the incumbent hasn't been determined, but let's be honest here. Unless Cindy Hyde-Smith really messes up, it's her race to lose. Well, I should have also talked about Alabama, but... So actually, it would be a Republican gain of a net Republican gain of 1 seat, which isn't that well. Actually, no. Sorry, not a net gain of 1 seat. Sorry, I forgot about Colorado. That would change hands. Yeah. So that would be that. So we're going to get a blank map up and talk about the 3 states with gubernatorial elections. And that would be Louisiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Yeah, that's not a lot. Bell Edwards, from what I can gather, is pretty popular in Louisiana, so I expect him to win that, going away with it, no matter what Republicans do. Tennessee and Kentucky are very... Tennessee? It was Mississippi, I'm sorry. Both of these are very Republican states, and unless they're Republican candidate, I think they're incumbents in this case, as far as I can remember. They are the odds-on favorites to win, so no real changes there. So we're going to go to a blank map and talk about the model. Okay, so this is the obvious national polling gap. So somebody asked me why Texas was shaded in blue, and it's back to being blue here again. And actually now the District of Columbia now shows numbers that are reasonable. So what I've done is, beforehand, I only had the 2016 results as dummy polls, and now I've included the Morning Consult tracking poll of approval as a poll. And I'm going to continue to do this on through Election Day because this is a decent gauge. Like, it'll actually be a decent gauge. For example, here's Arizona where Trump would win this, and it's fairly similar to the actual results from 2016. However, I've also, for the national polls, decided to include approval rating polls until we get more generic Trump versus generic Democratic candidate polls, just because I need data, and there's a lot of uncertainty with this, and for all intents and purposes, this gives us a lot less uncertainty to factor in, and these often show something that's much more similar to what might happen. So everything is factored in accordingly, you know. Now, that said, there still is a lot of uncertainty, and you go over to here and everything is, it's factored in as best as I can do it. I may change this to only 1/10 instead of 1/5, but I don't think that is going to really be a factor. Said, let me check one other interesting one. Yeah, Ohio back for the Democrats. That said, looking at the likely polls, I'm waiting for them to update Ipsos likely voter on 538, which is the primary site I use to check up my poll data. Come on. There we go. The way I do that is I go here, go to more politics, and I hit latest polls, and this is where I get the polling data for the approval rating, and I've currently only used Wikipedia for the generic polls. If we go to the national polls tab, that would be let me find it. These rows here. Now, obviously, you look here and you say, well, that's a 7% margin, almost an 8% margin. We'll go ahead and call it 8. But then we go to the forecast and you're saying, well, how does that widen out to a 13% gap? Well, here's how. 6, and Trump is only getting help from 4. So yeah, okay. That's actually weird. Wait a second. M53. Okay, so this, yeah, M53. Oh, yeah. I messed that up. I'm doubling the factor of that. Okay. There we go. Yep, so I need to, there we go. That is a fix, and I'm going to have to go through and do that everywhere I see M53. And adjust that. So anyway, guys, I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a nice day. I'll see you next time. Bye.